Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here and this is your first video. My name is Melanie Steele and today we are going to be talking about how to have an at-home writing retreat. So if you're not familiar with me, hi, I am the author of 3 books about cozy living and I'm currently writing my first novel, which is a cozy fantasy. And I'm sharing all of my behind the scenes of writing that novel right here on YouTube, as well as tips and tricks that I have learned along the way. So if that interests you as an author, I would love for you to subscribe. If you're a reader, hey, I also do vlogs on a weekly basis where you can follow me around and get little glimpses of my life and little tidbits of the story. So if you would like that, please come follow me. So the idea for an at-home writing retreat came about because my husband was going away on business overnight, which gave me 2 full days by myself that I needed to do something with. So I thought, what can I do that would be fun, that would be exciting, but would also allow me to get some work done all at the same time? And after having a little peruse of the internet, I decided on a writing retreat, but I didn't want to leave home. 1, because writing retreats can be quite expensive. 2, this was very short notice. Even if I did want to go somewhere, it would be unlikely I could find anywhere that I wanted. And 3, in all honesty, I just like being home. Home is very much where my heart is. This is why I write books about cozy living. My home is set up in such a way that I really don't want to leave it, and I don't. For most of the time you will find me here writing and doing various other work that needs to be done when you write for a living. So yeah, I thought it would be really fun to do an at-home writing retreat and then to create this video for anyone that is looking to do the same. So how does one go about organizing an at-home writing retreat? I'm going to break it down into 3 simple steps. Step number 1 is to prepare. Don't be like me, plan this out in advance. The only reason that I could really get away with doing it so last minute is because I do this full time at home. I don't have any other commitments outside the house. I don't have children. Essentially, my time is my own, so doing things last minute works for me, but it's probably not going to work for you. So first things first, you're going to decide on a day or days, depending on how much you want to achieve, that you're going to do this retreat. So this is either going to be a day that you work and you're going to book it off as annual leave from your job. It's maybe going to be a day in the week that you don't ordinarily work because you work part-time or you work unconventional hours. Or if you're an office worker, it might be a weekend that you would not be working. So go ahead and pick a date that is going to work for you. Obviously have a check through to make sure you don't already have any pre-existing commitments. You don't really want to book an at-home writing retreat when you are expected to be at a family gathering, for example. And obviously be sure to book ahead if you are needing to book time off from work, because you probably can't do that at the last minute. So yeah, go ahead, check your schedule, your calendar, however it is that you organize things, and go ahead and pick a date. And once you pick that date, commit to it. Just because you're doing an at-home writing retreat doesn't mean that this is some sort of soft commitment you can just brush aside. Once you've picked a date and you have put the time off if needed, commit to it. That is a solid date that you have blocked out for yourself. Treat that as if you were going to your day job. That's how serious that you need to take it, or else it's just going to become like any other day where you might do some writing, you might not, you might have other things that get in the way. The whole point of having a retreat is to take this day or day for yourself to fully commit to what you're doing. And I think this is especially even more important if writing is your side hustle, which it very likely is for most of us watching this video. So if it's your side hustle, take this time, dedicate a whole day and take it seriously, because even if you do write on the side, this is still a career, this is still a job, this is still something very important that you need to schedule out. Okay, so you have blocked out the day or days that you're planning to have your retreat. the next thing you need to do is to decide ahead of time what you want to do with this time. And obviously this is going to vary depending on where you are with writing. For example, if you're still in your first draft of your book, you're very likely going to want to focus on getting words down. You might like to set a word count goal or a sprint goal or some other means of tracking how many words you're going to get written over this course of time. If you are in revisions like I am, your goals are going to be a bit different. You might set a goal of how many chapters you're going to edit, how many pages, how much you want to achieve with your time. You might be in a slightly different part of the process. For example, maybe your manuscript is out with beta readers and you want to use this time to start on the next book and to generate ideas for that. You could set aside a whole time for coming up with ideas and getting like a big piece of paper or whiteboard to think about what your next book's going to be. Essentially, this is up to you and depends where you are in your writing journey. But please don't just turn up on the day and think, I might do this, I might do that. Let's make it solid. Let's decide what we're actually going to do with this time. Let's be intentional. If you're going to go so far as to block out a whole day for yourself, decide ahead of time what you want to do with that day, and then you're going to be so much more likely to achieve your goals. When I was doing my retreat, I actually decided that I would only dedicate half of the day to my revision goals, and I would dedicate the afternoon to other tasks still pertaining to being an author. And you can absolutely do this as well. For me, I know that all of my creativity is best in the morning between sort of 9 and 12. In the afternoon, I'm a little slower and this is not the best time for jotting down words, or in the case of doing revisions, having to go through and really pay attention. So I decided to use half of my retreat to focus on some more authorpreneur type tasks. So you could also do that. You don't have to spend your entire day or days solid writing if that doesn't work for you. If you're managing any kind of illness or disability and you only have a smaller pocket of when you're really going to do your best work, use the other time to do something else that could still be related to your writing, but it's maybe a lower energy task. You do not have to decide that from 6 in the morning to 6 at night with like 10 minutes for lunch you're going to write so many words or like a whole manuscript. We don't have to do that. This is meant to be a retreat. It is meant to be, yes, time to focus on your work, but it should also be something that you enjoy, something that is going to, yes, help you progress with your manuscript or your novel, but something that is also a little bit of self-care and a little bit of time for you. So yes, there is no need to, feel that you have to write all day and, crunch out as many numbers as you can. We don't have to do that. We are not here for that. We are all about doing our things and our goals and our writing in a more gentle way. So essentially what I'm saying is set a schedule, decide how you are going to spend this time. Are you going to spend most of it writing? Your schedule might be like 8 till 12 writing and 2 till 4 writing, for example. It might be, might actually start even later. If you are a night owl, maybe you don't want to start this too much later in the afternoon and work through till late at night or even the early hours. If you're that sort of person, I can never be that sort of person. I am a morning person. I'm up, I'm ready, I'm writing first thing before my energy just absolutely tanks in the afternoon. But yeah, so come up with a schedule, but make sure it works with your own kind of energy patterns of rising and falling, and jot it down somewhere. You could, get all fancy and create some sort of nice Canva schedule that you could stick up on your door, so people know what you're doing and not to disturb you. You could jot it down in a notebook. You could put it on a post-it note. Whatever you want to do, just make sure you have some visual reference as to what you're wanting to achieve in a specific time on that day. Okay, we're heading into step 2. So step 1, you have made a commitment, you have blocked out the day, you have decided what you're going to do with your time, you have some sort of schedule, whether that's very precise or a little more loose. And step 2 is to set up your space. I'm very fortunate in that I have a whole room to have as my office. So for me, setting up my space was a lot simpler because it is predominantly already set up. It was a case for me that I needed to tidy it, and I also had a new organizer to put my desk to keep all of my file folders and planners, etc., within arm's reach, but also in a more tidy fashion. So for me, there wasn't too much that I needed to do because I have a pre-existing space dedicated to this. However, I'm aware that most people are not in that position. Maybe you work in a space in the other part of your home, for example, at a kitchen table, maybe a desk in your bedroom, maybe an even smaller space than that. So if you work in a space that is maybe not permanently set up for you, or a space that you have to share with other people, now is the time to go and prepare that space and make sure you have everything that you are going to need for this journey. So even if you can't really set it up until the day because it's being used by other people in your household, do make a quick list of the things that you want to make sure you have. So this is obviously things like your computer, a notebook, a pen, any kind of reference books. Essentially, you know what you need to do your writing. So make a quick list, and then either the night before or on the day, depending on the situation, get your space set up, get it nice, get it cozy. You don't just have to have the absolute essentials here. You could have things that make it nicer, because as I've said, this is your writing retreat, so you can do it however you want to do it. So if you want to throw in some blankets and some candles, some music, whatever you want to do to create this space that you are going to be spending, an entire day in, you should go do that. Make this space a place that you want to be for the entire day. Step 3, following on from what I was just saying there, step 3 is to elevate your space and to elevate your experience. So I don't think that if you are creating a writing retreat at home, that it just has to be very boring. It doesn't have to just be that you get up, you go to your desk, you look at your schedule, you do your writing, the end. That doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me. That doesn't sound very inspiring. You could do it like that if you want to. If you're very pragmatic and you're not about all the things fancy, that's fine. But I think this day could be made so much nicer. You can have an experience that is much more in line with what you would have if you had gone away for a retreat, particularly if this was a specifically organised retreat, maybe by a writing organisation or some other formal group. When you go to things like that, there's a sort of daily agenda, and it might be somewhere that's catered and you get lots of tasty food. Why not make your experience at home like that? That's what I did. After I have finished chatting to you guys about how I did this, I'm actually going to show you some footage from when I did this at home so you can see what I did. So for me, I decided that I wanted to treat this as if I were going away somewhere fancy and catered and lovely. So what I did was to elevate this through having really nice food. So for example, I bought some very nice sourdough crumpets to have for breakfast, and I decided to go a little bit extra and to make myself a cream tea. If you're not familiar with cream tea, it is essentially scones with clotted cream, jam, and tea that is normally, in a very nice cup, teapot, etc. It is not high tea or afternoon tea. Those involve sandwiches and other more kind of sweet and savoury items. Cream tea is essentially just the scones, but that was perfect for me. I didn't need a whole formal afternoon tea, but you do you if that's what you want to do. So yeah, just having these little special things like that I wouldn't ordinarily have, just kind of made it feel more fancy and more luxurious and more elevated. And as I was kind of getting on doing my revisions, I was thinking about all these things in the back of my mind, and it just made it feel a bit more special. So I think some other things you could do to elevate this experience would be If you're using Scrivener as an example, you can adjust the background that surrounds the manuscript page that you're working on. So you could set it to a background for the city that your novel takes place in. You could set it to a beach background because you want those by the beach kind of vibes. You could set it to something very fantasy-esque if you're working on a fantasy novel. And it just kind of helps you to get more immersed in your story, but also to add to that experience that this is something new and different. It's not just you in your house doing some writing. We want to make this way more fun, way more elevated. So yeah, if you're using Scrivener, you can change your background. If you're not using Scrivener, if you have a second monitor, you could do something very similar, or you could load one of these kind of lo-fi beats videos that you find here on YouTube with the very nice pictures like crackling fireplaces or fantasy type scenes, all sorts of different ones. Definitely something to match your vibe. So you could have that on a second screen with like some lo-fi beats and this very nice picture. That is another thing that you could do to elevate this experience. For me, I'm very keen on scent, so I set up my wax melts with a scent I had been saving for this particular purpose. So when I came to her room, it was filled with this gorgeous scent, and I felt really cozy, and it felt really indulgent, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. So those are my 3 steps. So just to reiterate, step 1 is to prepare, step 2 is to set up your space, and step 3 is to elevate your experience. And of course, once you've done all that, enjoy it. There's no point going through all of this and having this time if you don't enjoy it. That is the whole point, right? Yes, we're here to be productive and get things done, but having this whole day to yourself to focus on your writing, and particularly if that is way out of norm for you, if you're someone who's very busy working a job, taking care of children or elderly parents or other family members, or just any other kind of responsibility where you don't get a lot of time for yourself, you deserve this day to yourself. You deserve to have a really nice time as well as getting your work done. So you might want to factor in some other things as well, like sitting down with a really good book once you've kind of done all your writing, or having a nice everything shower, having a nice bath, whatever it is. Maybe finish up this day with something that feels very indulgent and self-care for you. So as I promised earlier in this video, I've got some footage here from when I did my at-home writing retreat, and I hope you enjoy it. I had a lot of fun, and it actually inspired me to make this video. So here is my writing retreat. So there you have it, your guide to organising a cozy at-home writing retreat. I hope you have enjoyed this video and seeing my little cozy writing retreat behind the scenes. If you have, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button, and I would also love for you to comment down below about when you are planning to do your retreat and what things you plan to do to elevate yours. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.